أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله أوله بلا أول كان قبله وآخره بلا آخر يكون بعده الذي قصرت عن رؤيته أبصار الناظرين وعجزت عن نعته أوهام الواصفين ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا حبيبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم محمد
اللهم صل على محمد
وعلى الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الدائم على أعدائهم وغاصب حقوقهم ومنكر فضائلهم ومناقبهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم، والسلام عليكم جميعا أيضا ورحمة الله وبركاته.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
We commemorate tonight the martyrdom of Hazrat Habib ibn Mazahir, who was one of the faithful companions of Rasulullah, of Amirul Mu'mineen, of Hassan al-Mushtaba, and of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam. Although, as we all know, the amount of shuhada, the amount of those who were martyred on the day of Karbala, on the day of Ashura, is 72 and more. And we dedicate these 10 nights to some of those influential, some of those key players who played a major role in the uprising of Imam Husayn alayhi salam. And they are the source of lessons, of teachings to us. Habib ibn Mazahir, according to some narrations, been mentioned that he became shaheed twice in love of Husayn. He died twice in love of Husayn. First, he died when he was a child, when he was a baby. As Mazahir invited the Prophet for lunch, and Habib was a young boy, young child, and would play with Imam Husayn alayhi salam. Imam Husayn and Habib were close friends of each other. They would play with each other. So Mazahir was anticipating the arrival of the Prophet along with Imam Husayn, and Habib was anticipating the arrival of his friend Husayn. And apparently it's been mentioned that he was going up the roof and coming down from the stairs to see where is the Prophet, when is he going to arrive with Imam Husayn alayhi salam. And it's been mentioned that he tripped on the stairs and he fell. And when he fell, he lost his life. And the father took the body of Habib and put it in the room because he did not want to spoil the lunch, spoil the invite, because it was an honor for Mazahir to have the Prophet for lunch together. So if the Prophet knew if something happened, that this happened in the house, it will, the gathering will be called off. In any case, the Prophet came, Imam Husayn came, and Imam Husayn was inquiring, where is Habib? And the father of Habib kept on avoiding, eventually to the point that the father said he's in the room. So Imam Husayn ran to the room, just a child, just a young boy. And then he told Habib, come, let's play. And Habib, who was dead, he came back to life. And then he started playing with Imam Husayn alayhi salam. Mazahir, the father, looked at Habib that he fell and he died, and I did not want the Prophet to know. The Prophet inquired, you look surprised. What happened? So he said that this is what happened. And when I'm a shock that he was dead, and now Imam Hussein said, come and play. He got up and started playing with Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So this is once he died in love of Imam Hussein, anticipating, and the second time, he gave his life in the love of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So he's been known as Shaheed twice in the love of Hussein. Habib ibn Mazahir was known to be very pious and was known to finish the whole Quran every night. He would finish the whole Quran every night. He was very famous in tahajjud. He would worship at night. And he was also addressed by Imam Hussein alayhi salam in the letter, as when he sent that letter to Habib, he says, this letter is from Hussein ibn Ali to Habib ibn Mazahir, who was a faqih, who was a scholar. He was well versed in tafsir of Quran. He was well versed in ilm hadith. And apart from all of these different disciplines that he was well versed, he was knowledgeable in, he was well versed in the occult sciences. Occult sciences are known to be the ulum gharibe. He was well versed in knowing the future. There were only very few of the companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen who have taught this science to know the future. One of them was Maysam-e-Tammar. Maysam was also friend of Imam Ali, companion of Imam Ali alayhi salam. He was also taught this science, about the future. And he knew exactly how he will be killed and on which tree he will be hanged. So Maysam-e-Tammar, he knew about his future, when he will die and how he will be killed, why he will be killed. And he would go to that tree where he will be hanged, tree was still small. He would water that tree. He will put water to that tree, that it becomes strong, and then he will die in love of Imam Ali alayhi salam. And he was fully aware, because they report an incident in the narrative that Habib and Maysam-e-Tammar both were on the steeds, and they came close to each other. They came so close to each other that the necks of their steeds was very close, and they started exchanging dialogue, Habib and Maysam-e-Tammar. And Habib started saying how Maysam will be killed and how his tongue will be pulled from the throat for praising Ali alayhi salam. And even after his tongue being pulled from the throat for praising Ali, the tongue will still praise Ali alayhi salam, right? He gave the whole narratives that's going to unfold in the future for Maysam. And Maysam-e-Tammar, he mentioned Habib, that how Habib's beard will be in full of blood, supporting and being with Imam Husayn alayhi salam, and how his head would be severed. They spoke and they left. People who were sitting there listening to this conversation, they said, oh, these are liars. Then Rushayd came, another companion. And Rushayd, he was also an expert in future sciences, having the ilm of the ghaib, right? Because they were students of Amir al-Mu'mineen. They were taught by Amir al-Mu'mineen, because they knew that Ana Madinatul Ilm wa Aliyun Babuha, right? Then Rasul is the fort of knowledge, and Ali is the door. So from the very beginning, when they, like Habib ibn Mazahir, when he was still a child, Rasulullah will pick him up and will kiss his forehead. And he would say that, the reason I love him, because he loves my grandson Husayn. So Rasul loves who loves Husayn. If we love Husayn, Rasulullah loves us as well, right? So from the very beginning, he was known to be the Sahabi of Rasulullah, and he accepted Islam in the hands of Rasul. And then he knew, and he was a Wilai, always supporting of Wilayat Habib ibn Mazahir. So he was taught this science, special signs of ulum ghaib, by Amir al-Mu'mineen. So here, Habib ibn Mazahir was such a great, honorable, strong follower of Ahl Bayt alayhi salam. He had that knowledge as well. And then eventually, he joined Imam Husayn alayhi salam. He came along with another companion who was known to be Muslim ibn Awsaja. Both of them, they were in Kufa. And when Imam Husayn alayhi salam came and he got stranded in Karbala, they came from Kufa. Although there was curfew in Kufa, people were not allowed to leave Kufa. But still they were so strong, they managed to escape, they managed to come out. And they were very supportive of the messengers, of the letters which were sent by Qais, by Muslim ibn Aqil. When he came to Kufa, they supported Muslim ibn Aqil a lot. And Habib ibn Mazahir was one of the first person who wrote letter from Kufa to Imam Husayn alayhi salam and invited him, right? And then eventually he joined. And Imam Husayn alayhi salam prepared his army, and as the army is divided into right wing and left wing, when they are fighting, the right wing, the leader of the right wing, the commander of the right wing was not designated yet. People were asking, who's the commander of the right wing? Then Imam Husayn would say, he's coming. When Habib ibn Mazahir came, he gave the command for the right wing to Habib ibn Mazahir. He was a very strong fighter, and he knew, Imam Husayn knew that, Habib is a great supporter of Imam Husayn alayhi salam and Ahl Bayt alayhi salam. And he mentions this in the letter. When he wrote a letter to Habib ibn Mazahir, he says that my relationship and you always have sacrifice, and this is the time to get the reward by sacrificing your life from the hand of Rasulullah, Habib, right? I mean, obviously he has all seen the history. Rasulullah, Bibi Fatima, Imam Ali, Imam Hassan, he has seen through and through, just like how Imam Husayn saw everything. And it was very clear for Habib that he has to go and sacrifice his life. And he also had the understanding and the knowledge of how he will be slain, how he will be killed. And that itself is an honor. That itself is, if somebody, may Allah protect you all and protect us all. If somebody tells me that, okay, 9, 10 o'clock, something is going to happen to you, before something happening, I will die. I will be so scared of that, right? But these people were strong. They were ready for it. They were very prepared for it. So this is the story of Habib ibn Mazahir, one of the faithful companions who sacrificed his life. And inshallah, we'll reflect a bit more in Urdu when we will be doing the Masaib. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And that's why in the poetry that was just recited, it talks about how Habib was attacked in the end because he was on the horse, and then the way he was attacked, which made him come on the ground, was with a spear. The enemy attacked Habib with a spear, which he couldn't really control himself, and then he fell on the ground, and then he was attacked, ambushed by the enemies. So these marsiyas of Mir Anis and other great ulama who have written are very valuable, and it's very important that we learn, whether that be in Farsi, even in Persian also there are marsiyas and Nohe Khani, which is very important, which reflects the whole narrative that went down with these companions of Imam Husayn alayhi salam. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Now coming back onto the topic, that is the reflection on the Dua Arafa of Imam Husayn alayhi salam, in order to have the Ma'rifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Dua Arafa is full of knowledge, full of understanding of Tawheed. Dua Arafa, the name itself, Arafa, which we spoke last night, that what Arafa means, what the ground of Arafa means, right? Comes from marifat, comes from knowing, right? So this dua is full of it. So we will be reflecting upon that. And in order to do that, we said that we have to go through, to know Imam Husayn alayhi salam, we have to go through the door, which is the door of Abul Fazl Abbas alayhi salam, who is known to be, Sayyid Ali Qazi Tabatabai would say that there are two things which will allow a person on the spiritual wayfaring, on the path of purification, to reach its goal. It's a bullseye. One is the Quran. Recitation of the Quran, being with the Quran, it's very important for those who want to purify oneself. Those who want to reach and be from the companions of Imam Zaman, supporters of Imam Zaman, that person must, dedicate, must give time to the recitation of the Quran. It's very important for us that we recite Quran. In Arabic, yes. The translation, yes. Both. We have to do that. It's very important. The second thing, Sayyid Ali Qazi Tabatabai, he says that is Ziyarat Ashura, is Imam Husayn alayhi salam. If somebody wants to reach that kamal and perfection, have that marifat of tawheed, it is through Quran and Husayn and no one else. Because that's what we've been saying. The height of tawheed that a human capacity can comprehend is reflected in Dua Arafa. And that is of Imam Husayn alayhi salam. Right? Because Imam Husayn have reached to that nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where Allah is speaking through the lisan of Husayn. Allah is speaking through Husayn. Of course, Rasulullah is the highest level of qurb, which we'll talk a little bit later on, But Imam Husayn alayhi salam have it. And see, as we were speaking on the first night, we classified the supplications or the du'as into three different categories. We said we have du'a, we have nudba, and we have najwa. And they are all known to be du'as. We talk even munajat as a du'a. Du'a kumail, du'a nudba. They're all du'as, right? And all of these three classification and these categories that we have is reflection and is in accordance to the capacity and to the hal, to the state of that individual. An individual reaches to a point while reflecting on the reality of things, then he has a mukashafa. That person sees what's his responsibility and what that reality is. That's what dua is. That's why dua becomes a methodology, a means, a ways to act upon. Right? Dua becomes a methodology, means and ways to act upon. Like for example, there's a dua in regards to children of fourth Imam, right? That dua of children in regards to fourth Imam, yes, it's a dua. We ask, protect them and this and that and the other. But at the same time, inside that way of dua, there is a whole methodology of how to do tarbiyat of children. Okay? Why? Because the fourth Imam have reached to a point of reflecting in regards to awlad, in regards to children. Who are they? What are they? And what a parent should be in regards to them. Then Allah inspires this waliullah. And this waliullah speaks. Right? Impulsively. So Allah is speaking through the lisan, through the tongue of the awliya. Fourth Imam reflects in regards to the maqam of parents. Dua is in Sayf Sajjadiyah. Right? Who are they? Then over there, it shows the reality of it. And it provides a methodology in which, let's say that, oh Allah, make me from those that who remember the parents every hour of the day. Every hour of the day I should remember my parents. In the dua, fourth Imam is saying. Right? So he's asking Allah, oh Allah, make me from those who remember the parents every hour of the day. So this is not just repeating like a parrot. This means that I should be someone who should be concerned about the affair of my parents, remembering them every hour. You see? Right? Oh Allah, make them my Shafi if they leave this dunya before me. Make them, they should be my interceder. They should intercede me, do the shafaat of me. Because parents do shafaat of the children. Or if I leave, make me from them who can do shafaat for them. This is pointing out to, it is dua, but at the same time pointing out to that, and oh Allah, give them the position, the maqam near you that you have not given to anybody. This is showing the highest amount of love and respect that the children should have towards the parents. Give them that you haven't given to anybody. I have a father, you have a father. We both are doing the same dua. Is it really practically possible, for example, that you are doing the same dua, give them that maqam that you haven't given to anybody? I am doing the same dua saying I haven't given to anybody. But what does that mean? This is pointing out to the amount of love that I should have towards my parents, is that give them something that is you have given to nobody else. That's how I should be, in terms of my love, in terms of my focus, in terms of my, attendance towards them, right? So du'as are actually a methodology to understand the reality, Dua Arafa, methodology of knowing Tawheed. And what Tawheed is in Dua Arafa, right? Or for example, du'as are not just methodology of not just having the marifat, but also teaches us that how to reach that. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala. So now we spoke about, Sayyid Qazi said from Imam Husayn and, Quran. So for Imam Husayn, right? For Imam Husayn alayhi salam, if we do the ziyarat Ashura, if we connect to Imam Husayn, then Imam Husayn will make us connect to Abu Abdullah al-Husayn, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to reach to Imam Husayn, we have to go through the door of Abul Faz, which we spoke about him. وَيَا كَاشِفَ الْكَرْبَ وَجِّ الْحُسَيْنِ اكْشِفْ كَرْبِي بِحَقِّ أَخِيكَ الْحُسَيْنِ. That the position and maqam of Abul Faz is so high that even the worries of Husayn vanishes through Abul Fazl Abbas alayhi salam. He's the Babul Hawaij. He's the door of all desires that we want. It is through Abul Fazl Abbas alayhi salam. Now today we said we also have to look at the maqam of an imamat, who an imam is. And we said that we will reflect upon one of the du'as from the 11th Imam, Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam, on the 3rd of Shaban, which is the birth of Imam Husayn. Because we are also looking at the personality of Imam Husayn through Dua Arafa, right? So now, if we look at the personality of Imam Husayn, now just reflect a little bit on the dua which comes from the 11th Imam. One little thing before I want to point out here is that this dua is from whom? It's from the 11th Imam. It's not from the 6th Imam, or it's not from the 4th Imam or 5th Imam, but 11th Imam. 11th Imam means what? About 200 years, have already passed, right? From the time of the birth of Imam Husayn, right? Now, what does that mean? That means that the 11th Imam is teaching certain things which points out to that the capacity that the individuals, that the followers of the Ahl Bayt alayhimus salam have reached to an intellectual capacity that they can comprehend what Imam is teaching. Because, Ya your Rasul balligh ma unzila ilayk. Rasul was not ready, was doubtful in a way, or reluctant, not doubtful, but reluctant to announce the wilayat. Because Rasul said that these people, they don't have the capacity to understand what wilayat is, what imamat is, what leadership is. So he was kind of like, reluctant to do that. But Allah said, Ya ya Rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayk. You have to. If you don't announce the imamat and wilayat, ma ballaghta risalat. It is as if you haven't fulfilled your duty towards risalat. It is that important. Because Rasul knew there are only, you can count them on fingers, those who really understand what wilayat is, what imamat is. Salman, Abu Zar, Habib, Ibn Mazahir, these type of, only few people are there who understand. They don't comprehend what imamat is. But it was very important that the message is given, to the people, to the Muslimin in regards to the wilayat. So therefore, the same way, 11th Imam, the whole issue of imamat was so complex, was so powerful, that it wasn't possible for every person to understand. Like for example, during the time of the Imam Jawad alayhi salam, right? He became an imam at the age of at the age of 6 or 7, between 6 and 7, he became an imam. If there be a child of less than 14 who is not baligh, for example, if he stands in the front to lead the prayer, everybody will pull him back. Nobody will pray behind him because he's not baligh. Now we have an imam who is not even baligh from the age wise, but we still believe him to the imam. Why? Because imamat is the office of Allah. Allah is the one who appoints imam. When Allah can appoint Isa alayhi salam in the cradle for being the Nabi, and he spoke in the Quran. So the same way Allah can appoint an imam who is less than the age of 14. So for the followers of Ahlul Bayt to accept that, it took from first Imam till the 9th Imam, right? And then now you have this dua of the 11th Imam to understand those mystical, mysterious concepts in regards to the esoteric reality of what imamat is, right? That's why, you have awwalu ma khalaqallahu nur. The first thing God created is the Muhammadan light, is the Nur Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. The Nur of Muhammad was created first, and everything is created from the Nur Muhammad, right? And one of the asrar, one of the secrets of salawat, when we say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, is actually this salawat returns back to us. When we send blessings on Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, this blessing comes to us because we come from that Nur of Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala. So, and this is a very important reality of Shia Islam, and that is the manaviyat, that is the esoteric aspect, that is the spiritual reality, which is at the core, which is at the very central reality of Shia Islam, that imamat and wilayat is something beyond this physical realm, right? And this is that dua, and as it says that Allahumma inni as'aluka bihaqq al-mawlud hadha al-yawm, for the sake of that mawlud of this day, al-maw'udah bish-shahadati qabla istihlalih wa wiladatih, the promised with martyrdom, with shahadat. He was already promised with shahadat before the beginning of his lifetime and before his birth. That is Husayn. This is our iman. This is our belief. One might say, oh, it doesn't make sense. How can it be possible? Right? It is possible. It could be proven from a philosophical aspect, from the mystical aspect, because there are different realms of creation. And the Quran have talked about alam-e-zar. Before this creation, there was an alam where our spirits and soul were, where we accepted the wilayat of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. That's why we are followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam in this world. We have accepted that wilayat. And it is and it is a whole complete descent and ascent for those who have not accepted the wilayat of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam over there. Allah gives them another chance in this world, in this alam dunya, that they see the truth. And when they return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they come with the nur and with the acceptance of the wilayat. So this dunya is another chance for them. And at the same time, this dunya is also a trap for those who have accepted the wilayat there too. There's no guarantee. If somebody accepted the wilayat, that's why they are born in the world, in the houses of those who accept the wilayat, in the Shia households. There's no guarantee that. They may accept over there, but now they come in this dunya, they can, get deviated. The possibility. So that's why we have to be always on guard. So Imam Husayn alayhi salam, everything is announced. Everything is been mentioned. So at the same time, in this dunya, Imam Husayn have that free will. He does not want to go. Right? He has that possibility to do so. Nobody have stopped him. But no, he made sure that he fulfilled that. What he has given, accepted he paid allegiance to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, I will sacrifice. And he stood fast on that. It's like yesterday I said I will do this. Today I come and say, oh, I don't. That's not the true, that's not a man. If I have accepted it, go for it. Right? So in that world has its own implications, has its own rules and regulations, where Allah tested that light. That's why in the ziyarat of Siddiqa Kubra Fatima Zahra Salamullah Alayha, we recite that even before you've been created, you were tested. And you passed the test in that world of lights. Right? So this is something very core belief of Ithna Ashari, of Shia. Now here in this dua, as it says that, بَبَكَّتَهُ Bakkatahu as-sama wa man fiha. Whatsoever was in the heaven, sama, it cried, bakka, buka. And wal ard wa man alayha, whatsoever, the earth and whatsoever is on earth, they all cried for the martyrdom of Imam Husayn. That's what we recite in Ziyarat-e-Ashura. Ziyarat-e-Ashura is Hadith-e-Qudsi. Ziyarat-e-Ashura is Hadith-e-Qudsi. There are two ziyarat which are Hadith-e-Qudsi. One is Ziyarat-e-Ashura and the other is Ziyarat-e-Ali Yasin. That's Hadith-e-Qudsi as well. Comes from Allah directly. Right? So in that Ziyarat-e-Ashura as well we have that Imam Husayn, the heaven and earth cried. Now obviously then it's a long dua, and you have that beautiful story of the angel was known to be Futrus being cured in the dua itself. Right? This is from 11th Imam Hasan Askari alayhi salam. In which the Imam says that the Futrus, the wa'adha Futrusu bimahdihi, just as the angel Futrus sought refuge with his cradle. O Allah, kama wahabta al-Husayn li Muhammadin jaddihi, just as you gifted al-Husayn to Muhammad, his grandfather, just as the angel Futrus sought refuge with his i.e. Imam Husayn alayhi salam's cradle, we are thus seeking refuge. فَنَحْنُ عَائِذُونَ بِقَبْرِ مِنْ بَعْدِهِ. We are also seeking that refuge in the grave, towards the grave of Imam Husayn, his 11th Imam Husayn. So even the angels are cured by the cradle of Imam Husayn alayhi salam. Why we go to the shrine of Imam Husayn? The angels are coming and getting cured from the cradle of Imam Husayn alayhi salam. Right? We go to the chamber, to that shrine, to that zari of Imam Husayn alayhi salam, and we take refuge. We protect ourselves in that sanctuary of Imam Husayn. This is Imam Husayn. Now this Imam, imagine reaches to the point of Arafa. What level of ma'rifah and understanding that this Imam will bring out, right? He wasn't like this in that world of light, and then he is journeying through this world. As he journeys towards from this world, he brings out those gems, those principles of Tawheed, which the whole creation is for. The creation have been created, kuntu kanzan makhfiya. The creation was a hidden treasure. I created the creation in order that I be recognized, that I should be known. What should be known? That He is one, that there is only one God, but no God. Tawheed. And this Tawheed is a very simple belief, one God, but at the same time very complex. The intricacies, the beauty of Tawheed is eternal and never ending, right? It's very beautiful. So therefore, that Tawheed, and Husayn is teaching that Tawheed, is giving that theoretical reality through Dua Arafa and through that practical reality on the day of Ashura, where Husayn is attacking the enemies. As they say on the day of Ashura, when Husayn would attack, they will run, the enemies will flee. He will attack the right wing of Umar Saad, clear the ground of Karbala, puts the spear on the ground, empties it, and then go to the left wing, mark the Karbala ground again, clears it, and started conquering the whole land of Karbala. The enemy's army were touching the walls of Kufa, that far they were going. They were pushed back. On every time, as he moved forward, he would be saying what? La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There is no power but the power of Allah. If it be me, for example, if I did do something, I say, oh, mashallah, it's me who is doing. I think of myself, I have done this, right? But Husayn is saying, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There's nothing of me there. It is only and only but Allah. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. That's why, you have that, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. He would be reciting that a lot whenever he faces trouble, problem, issues. He says, we are from Allah. We are nothing. We return back to Allah. La hawla wa la quwwata. Ridan bi qada'ihi wa tasliman li amrih. Right? I accept your qada. And in the very beginning of the Dua Arafah, the very beginning, the first verse of Dua Arafah talks about the qada of Allah. That what Allah have destined and decided, is it any way possible to reverse that? When that qada Allah have said is going to happen, who are there? Who can reject that qada? So this itself shows that Imam Husayn is prepared, for that qada, for that, unveiling of that truth that is going to take place. But at the same time, the issue is the issue of Tawheed. Because Yazid thought that by persecuting, by killing, by troubling, by giving pain to Imam Husayn alayhi salam, he's gonna forget Tawheed. He's gonna leave, he's gonna surrender. But it backfired. It became more stronger and stronger. Reporters from the enemy sides, they say that we haven't seen a man like this. The more we trouble him, the more we make it difficult for him, the more perseverance and patience he shows. And they say the face of Husayn started shining day by day, day after day, till the last day, on the day of Ashura. It was a full blast of nur coming from the face of Husayn. He has reached that maximum capacity, right? So what was this all sacrifice for? Of that Tawheed, of that reality. That's why it becomes where those who understand that Tawheed and see that Tawheed. That's why the sixth Imam says, La yawmuka yawmuka Abu Abdullah. There is no day like the day of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn. Right? And it will never happen. Right? So that's why Hazrat Zainab, who understands that Tawheed and sees that reality which is unfolding, which unfolded for her, she says, Ma ra'aytu illa jamila. I saw nothing but beauty. It was beautiful. These manifestation of the Asma of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So Imam is that, right? And now here with the khutbah of Imam Husayn before he leaves Medina, I have mentioned that before and I said that I will look a bit more into that. And this khutbah points out to the purpose of creation, which is Tawheed. And that Tawheed is introduced by Imam Husayn in Dua Arafa, right? Before leaving Medina, Imam Husayn gave a khutbah. He says, Ya ayyuhan nas, lima khalaqa khalqallah. Oh people, why Allah created the creation? Khalaqallah liyarifuhu. Allah created the creation so that you have the ma'rifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the purpose of ours. Why are we coming to the majalis of Imam Husayn? For the increasing of ma'rifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Through Imam Husayn, we are understanding, we are gaining the knowledge of who Allah is. You know, when we look at Habib ibn Mazahir sacrifice his life, he gave up everything for Imam Husayn alayhi salam, right? For Islam, for Tawheed, we are learning that from these people when we discuss about them, right? And we get the capacity to be strong, you know, to increase our understanding and knowledge. So, لِيَعْرِفُوهُ, in order that we have that ma'rifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِذَا عَرَفُوا, when you will have the ma'rifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, abadu, you will naturally worship Him. It is action, reaction. When the sun will rise, the day will come. When we have the knowledge of Allah, when we have the ma'rifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will come to the realization that Ya ayyuhan nas antumul fuqara ila Allah, inna Allah ghaniyul hamid. That we are faqir. And Allah, and in Dua Arafa, and we're going to talk about that. You know, in Dua Arafa, in the last portion of Dua Arafa, which actually Sayyid ibn Ta'us, you know, he has there, because there are two, a chain of narrations of Dua Arafa. In one of the chain of narration in which Sayyid ibn Ta'us have this discussions that, I am faqir in my richness. Right? I'm faqir. When I'm rich, I'm faqir. How will I be in my faqr then, oh Allah? When I'm rich, I'm faqir. Imagine when I'm faqir, what will be of me? Right? This is Dua Arafa. So therefore, which we'll discuss in detail, there are 4 different types of faqr, that insan have. We'll talk about that inshallah, maybe tomorrow or the day after. So therefore, abadu. Idha arafu abadu. We will naturally worship Allah. And then what will happen when we worship Allah? We will become mustaghni an ibadati ma siwa. We will become ghani from worshipping others. When we worship Allah, we will not worship sports, we will not worship celebrities, we will not worship the dunya. Our worship is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Then somebody stands up, making it very, concluding it now, very briefly. Somebody stands up, Ma ma'rifatullah azza wa jal yabna Rasulullah. What is ma'rifat of Allah? Yabna Rasulullah. Then he says, ma'rifat of Allah is the ma'rifat of the Imam of the time. If somebody have the ma'rifat of the Imam of the time, then this way he will have the ma'rifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this all gatherings and all that, as we said, that our topic is really ma'rifat of Imam Husayn alayhi salam, the persona of Imam Husayn through Dua Arafa, right? By which we will have the ma'rifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? These people, because they had that ma'rifat, look how they worshipped Allah. Right? Salman will run to Siddiq-e-Kubra and said, Ali passed away in the desert. Siddiq-e-Kubra said, Salman, this every night Ali is like this. When he does munajat to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he passes away. He goes unconscious. The companion of Imam, sixth Imam, sprinkles water on the face of the sixth Imam, and he comes back to conscious after reciting the talbiyah. When he was going on Hajj, he puts the ihram, he said, Labbaik, Allahumma Labbaik. And then he passes out. Then he sprinkles water to wake him up and says, why did you do that? I was in communion with Allah. I became one with Him. Because the soul do not have the capacity to be connected to the dunya when it connects to Allah. And death is one of that, reality. Because the soul cannot take that power. It fuses out. When you have more electricity, the fuse goes off, right? The same way, the soul, if it is exposed to the reality, then it shuts from this dunya. It disconnects from the dunya, right? So this is, the ma'rifat. So if we have that ma'rifat, understanding of the imam of the time, so these imams, these masumeen who have that ma'rifat, that's how they behaved. They would disconnect from this dunya. They will be in a state of awe, right? So who we are, where we are, right? We are so far away. We gotta take a bit of step through this love of Imam Husayn alayhi salam, through remembering him. Habib ibn Mazahir, how he swiftly comes to Imam Husayn when the letter was given. They say that Habib अपने ज़ौजा के साथ घर में थे और इमाम हुसैन का खत आता है और कहा गया है कि वो खिजाब लेके थे और जैसा ही ये खत पढ़ते हैं बोसा देते हैं खत को और फिर उसके बाद अपने ज़ौजा से पूछते हैं कि ये एक किस्म का इम्तिहान है। ज़ौजा से पूछते हैं कि क्या किया जाए, इस तरह से खत आया है। तो ज़ौजा हबीब की कहती है कि तुम्हें हो क्या गया है, तुम नहीं जाओगे तो मैं जाऊं। यानी इम्तिहान ले रहे हैं। देखिए करबला के मैदान में मुख्तलिफ ख़वातीन और खानवादे असहाब के भी तशरीफ़ फरमा थे और उनका बहुत ही बड़ा किरदार है उनकी शहादत में, उनकी कामयाबी में। जो माएँ और बहनें वहाँ पे मौजूद थी, बहुत ही अजीम उनका किरदार है और बहुत ही अजीम रोल उन्होंने प्ले किया है करबला के सक्सेस में। ये माएँ और बहनें ही थी जो सपोर्ट कर रही थी, जो मददगार थी, पहले भी और इसके बाद भी। वहाब की अम्मा ने क्या किया, जो मसीही थे, वहाब मसीही था। जब इमाम हुसैन वहाब के खैमे में आते हैं, वहाब वहाँ नहीं होता है, माँ वहाँ पे होती है और इमाम हुसैन माँ से पूछते हैं कि किस तरह से गुजर रही है ज़िंदगी। माँ कहती है कि पानी की किल्लत है, तो हुसैन अपने हाथ से कुआं खोदते हैं। ये है हुसैन, अपने किरदार से दीन मोहम्मद की तरफ दावत दे रहे हैं। वहाब की माँ को नहीं कहा जाके तुम कलमा पढ़ो, कलमा इस तरह से पढ़ा जाता है। वहाब की माँ को अपना अखलाक रसूल बतलाया है। ये तो मसीह है, मैं क्यों इसकी जो है जिंदगी में पानी के लिए जो है कुआं खोदूं, मैं तो मुसलमान हूं। नहीं, जब वहाब की अम्मा से पूछा मुश्किल क्या है, तो कहा पानी की किल्लत, तो हुसैन खुद कुआं खोदे। नहीं कहा तुम कलमा पढ़ो मैं कुआं खोदूंगा, नहीं, कुआं खोदा है। जब हुसैन वहां से पूछते हैं कि तुम माजरा, तुम आखिर है कौन, हुसैन अपने आप को मुआर्रिफी करते हैं, इंट्रोड्यूस करते हैं और अपने मकसद को बयान करते हैं और चले जाते हैं। ये भी नहीं कहा कि आओ तुम मदद करो, क्योंकि उनको तो कोई तकलीफ नहीं है, मुसलमान के ऊपर तकलीफ है इमाम की मदद करने की, वो तो मुसलमान भी नहीं है। वहाब लौटता है, अपनी माँ से पूछता है कि आखिर माजरा क्या है। तो यहाँ पे वहाब की वालदा कहती कि इस तरह से है। तो वहाब ने पूछा किस तरह से वो शख्स लगता था, तो वहाब की वालदा ने बिल्कुल ईसा मसीह की तरह था, बिल्कुल ईसा की तरह था। तो वहाब कहते हैं कि बस चलो हम जाएंगे उसकी मदद के लिए। और जब वहाब का सर काट के अपनी माँ की तरफ फेंका गया, वहाब की माँ कहती है जो हदिया अल्लाह की राह में दिया जाता है وہ واپس نہیں لیا جاتا، اس سر کو واپس پھینک دیا۔ ماؤں کا کردار، بہنوں کا کردار، بیٹیوں کا کردار عاشور کے میدان میں عظیم کردار ہے۔ یہاں پر اسی لیے حبیب کی زوجہ کہتی ہے کہ آخر ہو کیا گیا ہے، فوری جاؤ، نواز رسول تنہا ہے، دشمنوں نے گھیر لیا ہے۔ اور حبیب نکلتے ہیں مسلم ابن اوزجا کے ساتھ امام حسین کی طرف، پہنچتے ہیں امام حسین کے پاس، اور پھر اس کے بعد پہنچتے ہی کہتے ہیں کہ زینب کو میرا سلام۔ جب زینب کو یہ پتا چلتا ہے کہ حبیب آ گئے تو ایک اطمینان ہو جاتا ہے زینب کو، اور پھر اس کے بعد زینب سلام بھیجتی ہے حبیب کو، اور پھر حبیب یہ کہتے ہیں کہ یہ وقت آ گیا ہے کہ علی کی بیٹی مجھے سلام بھیج رہی۔ پھر اس کے بعد کہا گیا ہے کہ جبھی بھی امام حسین علیہ السلام شہداء کی لاش پر جاتے تھے، شہداء کو جو ہے میدان سے گنج شہیدہ میں لاتے تھے، تو حبیب ہمیشہ حسین کے ساتھ جاتے تھے، ہمیشہ حسین کے ساتھ۔ اور پھر جب مسلم ابن اوسجا کی شہادت ہوئی، حبیب ساتھ گئے ہیں، اور جب حبیب پہنچے ہیں مسلم ابن اوسجا سے پوچھتے ہیں، اے مسلم ابن اوسجا، کیونکہ دوست تھے دونوں، مسلم سے پوچھتے ہیں کوئی وصیت ہے، کیونکہ مسلم ابن اوسجا کی زوجہ بھی وہاں، پوچھتے ہیں کوئی وصیت ہے، تو مسلم ابن اوسجا حسین کی طرف اشارہ کرتے ہیں کہ یہ شخص کو نہیں چھوڑنا، یہ نواز رسول کو نہیں چھوڑنا۔ تو حبیب کہتے ہیں یہ کیا کہہ رہے ہو؟ بہت ہی سخت مرحلہ ہے حبیب کے لیے کہ نواز رسول اس طرح سے دشمنوں میں گھرا ہوا ہے، اور حبیب آج ظہر کا وقت تھا اور اذان کہی گئی، اور جب حبیب آتے ہیں اجازت مانگنے کے لیے، کہا گیا ہے کہ ایک شخص تھا ابن تمیم، بنی تمیم سے تھا، اور وہ کہتا ہے کہ تمہاری نماز کیا نماز پڑھو گے، تمہاری کیا نماز قبول ہوگی؟ حبیب جلال میں آتے ہیں، حملہ کرتے ہیں اس شخص پر اور کہتے ہیں کہ تم جو شراب خار ہو، خمار باز ہو، تمہاری نماز قبول ہوگی، نواز رسول کی نماز نہیں قبول ہوگی۔ پھر اس کے بعد حبیب جنگ کے لیے روانہ ہوتے ہیں، اور جب کہا گیا ہے کہ ایسی معرکی کی جنگ کی ہے، 60 افراد کو واصل جہنم کیا، اور جب فوج یہ دیکھتی ہے، دشمن یہ دیکھتے ہیں کہ کوئی حبیب کو قابو نہیں کر پاتے ہیں، تو سب مل کر حبیب پر حملہ ور ہوتے ہیں۔ ایک ایسا نیزہ چلایا گیا کہ حبیب گھوڑے کی زین پہ نہیں رہ پائے، زمین پر آ جاتے ہیں، اور پھر وہی شخص جو نماز کے حوالے سے جو ہے بد و برا کہا تھا، وہی شخص آگے بڑھ کر حبیب پہ حملہ کرتا ہے۔ حبیب آخری سلام دیتے ہیں، آغا میرے مولا میرا آخری سلام قبول ہو۔ امام حسین علیہ السلام حبیب کے پاس پہنچتے ہیں، حبیب کے سر کو اپنے گود میں رکھتے ہیں، اور پھر خون صاف کرتے ہیں، اور حبیب کو بشارت دیتے ہیں کہ جنت تمہارے لیے ہے میرے حبیب۔ اور پھر اس کے بعد یہاں پر حبیب گفتگو کرتے ہیں اور کہتے ہیں کہ آغا میرے مولا، آپ ہر شہید کی لاش پہ، کیونکہ حبیب ساتھ آئے تھے نا، آپ ہر شہید کی لاش پہ پہنچے ہیں، میں دیکھ رہا ہوں کہ آپ جب اس کربلا کے زمین پر اکیلے ہوئے۔ اور پھر اس کے بعد یہاں پر کہا گیا ہے کہ جب حبیب اس دنیا سے چلے گئے، اور جب حسین اپنے دوست کی لاش کو لے آ رہے تھے، تو حسین کے چہرے پہ غم اور ایک ایسا جو ہے غم تھا کہ کوئی شہید جب ہوا ہے اس طرح سے غم نہیں تھا، کیونکہ ایک دوست کا کھونا ایک الگ قسم کا غم ہوتا ہے۔ اللہ لعنت اللہ علی قوم الظالمین، سیعلم الذین ظلموا ان منقلب ینقلبون ماتم حسین یا حسین۔